The golden escalator hummed downward like a throne descending from the heavens. It was June 16, 2015, inside the gleaming atrium of Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue. Cameras flashed like lightning. Reporters leaned forward, half amused, half curious. At the top stood a man in a bright red tie, hair swept back like a lion's mane, tanned face glowing under the spotlights. Donald J. Trump, 69 years old, billionaire, reality TV star, and the most unlikely presidential candidate in modern history, raised his hand and began the speech that would change America forever. "When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best," his voice boomed. The crowd, mostly supporters he had bussed in, erupted. Critics watching on TV rolled their eyes. Pundits laughed. "He'll be gone by September," they predicted. They were wrong. Flashback to the beginning. Born on June 14, 1946, in a modest house in Queens, New York, Donald John Trump was the fourth of 5 children. His father, Fred Trump, was a no-nonsense German-American real estate developer who built thousands of middle-class homes. His mother, Marianne MacLeod, had sailed from Scotland as a teenager with nothing but dreams. Fred taught his son one lesson above all: be a killer. At 13, after getting into too many scrapes, Darnold was shipped off to New York Military Academy. The strict drills and discipline forged him. He graduated as a captain. Later, he would say, "I learned toughness there." By 1968, he had graduated from the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania with a degree in economics. Instead of joining the family's outer borough empire, Donald set his sights on Manhattan, the glittering prize. He borrowed $1 million from his father and began buying distressed properties. In 1980, he opened Trump Tower, a shimmering 58-story skyscraper on Fifth Avenue with a 6-story pink marble atrium and a waterfall that looked like liquid gold. The world took notice. The Art of the Deal became a bestseller. Casinos in Atlantic City, the Plaza Hotel, the Woolman Rink rescue. Trump turned every project into a spectacle. Then came the 1990s. Debt, bankruptcies, divorces, tabloid scandals. The empire wobbled. Trump stared into the abyss and refused to blink. "I've had bigger comebacks than anyone," he told reporters. He clawed back, licensing his name, starring in The Apprentice on NBC. Every week, millions heard those 2 words that became his trademark. He rode down that escalator and declared war on the political establishment. The Republican primaries were a bloodbath. 16 seasoned politicians stood in his way. Trump called them low energy, Little Marco, Lion Ted. He held massive rallies where crowds chanted "Build the wall" and "Lock her up." The media called it a circus. Poll after poll said he couldn't win. Then he swept state after state. On election night, November 8, 2016, the impossible happened. At Trump Tower, the war room was electric. Returns trickled in. Florida flipped red. Pennsylvania, the must-win, teetered. At 2:30 a.m., the networks called it. Donald Trump had just been elected the 45th President of the United States. He walked onto the stage at the New York Hilton, wife Melania beside him in white, and smiled the biggest smile of his life. "I love this country," he said simply. Fireworks exploded over the Hudson. The next 4 years were a roller coaster no one could have scripted. Tax cuts, criminal justice reform, Middle East peace deals, record low Black and Hispanic unemployment before the pandemic, but also endless investigations, 2 impeachments, and a bitterly divided nation. COVID-19 hit like a sledgehammer. Trump pushed Operation Warp Speed, vaccines developed in record time, yet the virus, the lockdowns, and the riots of 2020 scarred the country. On election night 2020, Trump went to bed believing he had won again. By morning, the map had turned. He refused to concede. Stop the steal became the rallying cry. January 6, 2021, the Capitol riot, became the darkest chapter. Trump left the White House on January 20, 2021, but he never really left the stage. The wilderness years tested him like nothing else. Indictments flew: New York, Florida, Georgia, Washington, D.C., mugshots, courtrooms, gag orders, legal bills in the hundreds of millions. Many allies abandoned him. The media declared him finished. Then, on July 13, 2024, in Butler, Pennsylvania, a bullet grazed his ear. Blood streamed down his face. Secret Service agents rushed him. Trump pumped his fist, mouthed, "Fight, fight, fight," and the image went viral around the world. That single moment reignited his base like gasoline on fire. He chose Senator J.D. Vance as running mate. The campaign became a revenge tour and a victory lap at the same time. Massive rallies in swing states drew crowds that dwarfed 2016. Polls tightened, then broke his way. On November 5, 2024, America spoke again. Trump won 312 electoral votes, the popular vote, and flipped every battleground state. At 78 years old, he became the oldest president-elect in history and the first president since Grover Cleveland to serve non-consecutive terms. Election night at Mar-a-Lago was pure electricity. Supporters packed the ballroom, red hats everywhere. As the numbers rolled in, Trump stood backstage with his family, Don Jr., Eric, Ivanka, Lara, and Melania. The room fell silent when Fox News called Pennsylvania for him, then Georgia, then the final call. Trump walked out to thunderous applause, the USA, USA chant shaking the chandeliers. He stepped to the microphone, voice steady, eyes glistening just a little. Many people said this would be impossible. They said I was finished, but here we are, the greatest political comeback in American history. We are going to make America great again, greater than ever before. On January 20th, 2025, under a cold Washington sky, Donald J. Trump placed his hand on the Bible once more and took the oath of office. He became the 47th President of the United States, proving that in America, the ultimate comeback is always possible. The crowd at the inauguration roared as Trump finished his speech. Confetti rained down. Somewhere in the distance, fireworks cracked across the sky. Donald Trump raised his hand, smiled that familiar half-grin, and said the two words America had waited for 4 years to hear again: "You're hired."